Hello and welcome to Narrative4Change. In Narrative4Change, we start to explore the narratives that form us as people, communities and organisations. There are three main narratives that exist. The first one are the traditional narratives that we're exposed to as children from books and from our grandparents. And the second are the personal narratives that we hear about ourselves in our home environment or in our schools. And then the third are the social narratives that are told by our communities and our countries about what it is to be successful and high status, etc. We are given these narratives and we are told, well, this is your story. But when you start to question that, suddenly a light bulb comes on and you think, well, do I not have more choice in this? Are these narratives true? So just close your eyes for a second now and imagine the letter A there in your mind's eye. Open your eyes. How many of you imagined a capital letter A, a lowercase letter A, an object beginning with the letter A? Perhaps you imagined a blue letter A or a green letter A, an orange letter A, a red letter A, a purple letter A. What if I say imagine touching cotton wool, or touching sand, or even touching bananas? How many of you will go, oh, yuck, that's disgusting, I hate touching those things, it makes my teeth go funny? What does this mean? Well, it means that we all interpret our external world in a unique internal way. And what does that mean to us as communicators and workers with people? Well, it all starts with the brain. It always does, doesn't it? Our brain has an internal interpretation device, different letter A's that we see. And this starts to form itself in childhood. Our brain grows and grows and grows like a forest, especially between birth to 3 years. And we start to make connections in that forest. And what we don't use, we trim away or it dies off, and we make pathways of meaning. And that's how we learn. But just imagine for a second that in that forest, there is a huge, ferocious, scary beast. What then? Well then, cortisol is released, adrenaline is released, those hormones course through your body and your heart starts to pump faster and you start to sweat. And some of us, we want to run away from the beast. We want to take flight. And for some of us, we want to fight the beast. We want to kill the beast. And for others, we just want to curl up and freeze and hope the beast doesn't see us. So those fight, flight, freeze mechanisms start to happen. But what if that beast lives in our house and we have to go back to it every night? What happens then to all those toxic hormones that are being released? Well, a huge soup is made, a toxic stress soup, if you will. And these are formed by adverse childhood experiences that we had or that we are having. 8 or more of these have been recognised from substance abuse at home, domestic violence, physical abuse. And if you have 4 or more of these ACEs, well, you're twice as likely to develop lung cancer or COPD, 6 times more likely to have a teenage pregnancy. It continues. You're far more likely to have negative behaviour. And also, your life expectancy can be 20 years less than somebody who has no ACEs. And people say, well, you're just replicating what's happening at home, aren't you? But no, it actually affects your chromosomes and the telomeres at the ends of them, which are responsible for our immune system and cell replication. So what can we do about it? Well, it's been found that being mindful and taking part in exercise can counteract the impact of toxic stress. So that's great, isn't it? We just go out into the wilds and we exercise and we become mindful and at one, but we can't, can we? Because our worlds have become so much smaller, especially children's. Narcissism is on the increase and children are less empathic now than they used to be because there's no free play and they cannot develop an internal locus of control. So what's story got to do with any of this? Well, at Emory University, they found that when you listen to stories and read stories, you are very mindful. You're totally encased within the narrative. And also your brain fires off like you are the protagonist running through the forest. Your brain thinks you are exercising. So you actually develop this incredible universe of meaning and experience by immersing yourself in narratives. Close your eyes once more. I'm going to tell you the shortest story in the world. A woman is walking by the side of the water. How many of you saw a woman with long hair? A woman with short hair, or a woman with a hat? How many of you saw some kind of trees or little hills in the distance? How many of you saw a stream? Did you see a lake? Did some of you imagine the sea and the shore? You all imagined something different, because storytelling allows you to use your different letter A's. Therefore, it means something more to you. And when you listen to stories, well, also you are mindful. And so cortisol and adrenaline reduces. And also, it dupes your brain into thinking you're physically exercising. And this amazing tool can be used within communities, within organisations, and with individuals, to start to explore some difficult situations in a safe and secure way. And that's only just the beginning of Narrative for Change.